Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show you how to add dramatic lighting to your images so you can change a boring picture from looking like this to something like this. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Moss. I'm a solo developer behind Duck Norris Tales, an indie game where you play as a duck saving the world from an alien invasion. And let me tell you, light has been absolutely crucial in bringing this game's world to life. I'm sure we can all agree, a painting with no light looks flat and boring. But add the right lighting and suddenly your art transforms. It's a skill that if mastered, it will make your art look 10 times better. And the right lighting doesn't just add depth, it can completely change the emotion and the story of your scene. Now let's break down how light and shadow actually work, because it's a bit different than what most people think. So mainly we have two values. We have the bright side, where the light hits, and the dark side, where the shadow lives. We have established that light is coming from this side and hitting this surface area. Naturally, this means that this object is going to throw shadow in this direction. But here's what gets interesting. Shadow aren't just flat dark areas. They're constantly being affected by everything around them. Let me show you what I mean. Let's take a look at this object. The light source is hitting at an angle from the back, and this causes this side to be darker. Now, what happens if I bring this object next to it? This is called bounce light. Basically, it will bounce whatever color closest to your subject and act as a secondary light source. And one other thing is, like, you'll notice that shadow doesn't drop from 0 to 100. It has a bit of a gradient to it. However, this rule can be broken, and this will create neat dramatic effects. Let's take a look at one of my favorite artists, Jablonski. He's a Polish concept artist who worked on games like Diablo and Destiny. And the way he uses dramatic lighting is mind-blowing. He literally guides your eyes through his paintings using light and shadow. So let's go through a high-level overview of one of his paintings. You'll notice something that he tries to guide your eyes with light and shadow. So he's making this one as the main focal, and everything around is very dark to kind of ease your eye in to the painting. And one thing also, you'll notice that there is a big contrast between the light and shadow. So the shadow part is just very simple value. The midtones are around here, and the lights are very close together. So you can get away with 3 to 4 values to establish a tone for your piece. So if you zoom into the face, you'll have like 1, this is the first highlight, then you have 2, 3, this is the midtones, then you have a very harsh shadow, which is 4. You'll notice that across the whole, like the torso area, you have the highlights, midtone, and shadows. And then when he goes down to the silhouettes, it's just plain harsh shadows. And there's like a very sharp edge. There's no gradients to it. And that's where I'm saying, like, you can get away with it, and it's, you want to have some intentionality. If you look at, let's say for the staffs, he does the same thing, where it's like very dark shadows and then very like mid-tone to highlights. Same thing in here, shadows and then mid-tones. There's no gradient, it's just like a very clear cut. And that's why we can have a very good dramatic effect. See that in here too. You can see that there. And this is one way to actually kind of break the rules, but also make it look very appealing to the eye. And all of that is done to bring your eye back to the main character. Now let's get back to Duck Norris. And today I wanted to incorporate two techniques, the spotlight effect and the rim light, to one of my paintings. So let's put all of that together. So I wanted to work on a new concept art for Duck Norris Tales. Basically do a close-up portrait of Duck Norris, something that I haven't done before for my game. I've always been painting the sprites or just the full body shots, but I haven't really explored how the character profile would look like up close. I wanted to give it a dramatic look, so I set the main light source towards the back. And that way I can have the rim light effect and give it more dramatic pose. Also, because I'm dealing with feathers, I think the light seeps through will look very cool, and it will give it like a halo effect. One thing I always follow when I'm trying to add light is to follow these simple steps. Always establish the main source first. Make sure that you have the light source always consistently in the same spot. Don't be afraid of deep shadows, they create a lot of drama. And thirdly, remember that bounce light add realism. Incorporate that as much as you can, even though you'll see a lot of artists don't use it, but it's always a good practice to challenge yourself and add something different. And adding a bounce light leans more towards realism, and it's so easy for the viewer to create a connection with your art. And lastly, use a reference image. Even professional artists do that. Many artists think that you have to create everything from memory, but memory sometimes is deceiving. So having a reference keeps you grounded and add that realism element to your art. And this is how the final piece looks like. The best part is once you understand these principles, you can apply them to any art style. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far and you're interested in optimizing things and becoming better, I've created a new Discord server for like-minded people who wants to take this journey to the next level, and you can find it in the links below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and a comment. It will really help me with the algorithm and help the channel grow. If you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy this video as well. Thank you so much, and remember, just take it one day at a time, and I'll see you in the next video.